Why so many people fail in their first mining job. Conversations about mining. Hi, Jess. How are you?
Yeah, great, Andrew. How you going?
Yeah, really good. Thank you. But before we start today, I just want to give Tim a shout out. Tim did our three-step plan and got a job on the East Coast. Oh, no, actually in South Australia by the looks of things at Olympic Dam. He was coming out of Melbourne and he got offered a few jobs. Actually, he got offered a few jobs in Queensland. He got offered a few jobs in South Australia. He got offered a job over here in WA. But it looks like he's settling on going driving an Aggie Underground at Olympic Dam, which is really good. Congratulations, Tim.
Congratulations, Tim. Again, Tim was a star pupil. We have to give him a big thumbs up because he was super easy to work with. He did all of his training fairly quickly. He followed all of his instructions on how to apply, what to apply for, and he's like done a killer job. And boom, he's landed a job and been offered several, like Andrew said, within a week or so of starting to apply. So, yeah,
Yep.
Congratulations, Tim. Luck with
Yep.
the new job. We can't wait to hear about your first day on site.
Yeah, he had some really good feedback about the interview process that he went through with Redpath. So that was really good. The foremen were really interested in what he learnt in the training, and they were just blown away that he knew what a heading was and what the services were and, all the right terms for the jobs and all that sort of stuff. And that's why he got offered what he got offered. So, yeah, well done.
Yeah,
Cool.
congratulations. Awesome job.
All right, so next one is what nobody on social media is talking about. If your social media is not talking about the failure rate in mining, then your social media is not telling you everything. It's the whole reason that the training got written back in the day is that us as shift bosses, as supervisors, we just got sick of watching people fail. And over here in WA, like it is around most of the country, the supervisor roles are statutory positions. So if something goes wrong, you're the one going to jail. And so if you're not going to put anybody out there that you think could hurt themselves or hurt somebody else until you're 100% certain that they're going to be all right. And that's where a lot of the failure comes from, because unfortunately people come in and if you go in green, so you've got no mining knowledge, you end up on their time frame and it's sink or swim training. And Jess has done the drillers offsider role, which is probably the most sink or swim training there is around the place. So I'll let you elaborate a little bit on that if you like, Jess.
To say it was full on was an understatement. I think I was lucky that my background at the time was as being a chef, and I'd worked in a lot of fast-paced kind of restaurants and worked on big camps. So I was used to quite a physically demanding job, but this was next level. And a lot of people on site back then, there wasn't very many women doing it, and I was quite young, and so a lot of people had, especially a lot of the other guys my age that were on site, had a bit of an attitude. So it was really hard work. I think, like I said, if I didn't have that background working with temperamental chefs my whole life, I don't think I would have lasted. It was pretty brutal, and it was quite isolating. It took probably a good 2 or 3 months before I was really accepted in, and what people would talk to me, or I could ask questions without kind of eye rolls or and I'm sure it's not that bad anymore, but really physically demanding. You never knew how your day was going to go, and whether you were going to be operating trucks or dozers or forklifts or whatever, or excavators, whatever you were going to be doing, or whether you were just going to be the driller's bitch for the day and you were just going to be literally lifting rods and loading, drill rigs all day long. Like, you just didn't know how it was going to go, and it was full on. I had no idea how any of it worked. I was super green and I just jumped in and kind of ran with it. I was lucky that my driller was awesome, and he kind of took me under his wing and taught me a lot. But if I hadn't have had him, I probably would have lasted one swing and I would have left, because it was brutal, physically brutal. I was sunburnt. I was, half the time you wouldn't get smoko. It was insane.
Yeah, and that's the big thing. That's one of the reasons why we wrote the training, is because what we found was that if you didn't have somebody that was going to take you under their wing, like I know I've talked about this in the past on the channel. I had Tim, who was my temperamental jumbo operator, who would put any chef that you ever seen to shame. So, he used to throw the drill bits at me to change the drill bits on the end of the jumbo. He just used to hurl them at me. It's like, catch them, sort of thing. But yeah, he taught me a lot. And if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have made it at all. And that's the problem that we sort of identified, was that, not everybody got their mentor that they really needed. And sometimes you just get the luck of the draw, or whoever's going to teach you is going to teach you. And people sort of get into the situation where they think safety and training is going to do all the training. In the middle of a boom, safety and training, they don't do any training. They do paperwork. That's all that they do is paperwork. And you get a buddy to show you how to do the job, and you're left in the lap of the gods with how good the buddy is sometimes. And that's why in the training is all the stuff that the buddy should be showing you down the hole on how the truck operates and what you need to know for service crew and nippering and offsiding and all that sort of stuff. So we've taken all that out of the equation. So if you get to site and you get somebody that doesn't know what to do, then you've got everything that you can use to make it work for you. About 18 months ago, we had a guy get a job as a nipper, and he showed up onto site, and he was really clued on. He did the training really well and knew what was going on. But the other nipper picked him up, and she took him down the hole, and they dropped everybody off. She drove around the corner, stopped, and burst out crying. And she said, "Look, I'm just letting you know that I'm driving up to quit. I don't know what's going on. The guy that was supposed to be teaching me didn't really teach me, and they sacked him last week. And now everybody's acting like I know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. So I'm just letting you know what's going on. I'm going to go up there and I'm going to quit. And, I don't know what they're going to do with you." And he was like, "Oh, okay, calm down." He said, I followed the morning meeting. I know what we have to do. I just don't know where to go. Do you know where to go? And she goes, "Yeah, I know where to go, but I don't know what to do." So they spent the 2 weeks together driving around, and he taught her what was going on, and she taught him the mine, and she ended up staying. And but it just shows you the situation that people can get in if you don't know what's going on around you. The big thing is learning how the mine works and understanding what's going on within the mine. So what everybody else does, so they can leave you alone to get on with it. That's your goal. And when you go in green, they turn over more than 50% of the new starters. It's not just one company, it's all of them. And there's so many random reasons why you can fail. And like I said, that's the reason that we got really frustrated back in the day as supervisors, because if somebody, you can't put anybody out there because of the statutory position before you're 100% ready, think that they're ready. But so you get left with all these people that you don't know what to do with, because, often you don't tap them on the shoulder. Often they feel the pressure themselves and they'll quit. But you've just wasted 3 weeks or 4 weeks or 6 weeks training them, and they're just through the revolving door and then out again. And, if they just knew a little bit more, they probably wouldn't have happened to them. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, it does. And that's the big difference, I guess, than going in green and doing the training and being prepared, and even just knowing what it's like underground. Like, we have so many people that come and like bulls at gates and say, "Right, I've got this job underground. I'm so excited." Off I go on the plane, and they're all excited and they're keen, and they get there and they shit themselves. They don't know what to expect. It's dark and it's wet, and it can be really scary because you can get quite disoriented when you're first underground, when you don't know where to go.
Yep.
And so many people that just that first day, just going down the hole, is like, "Nah, I'm out of here, back on the plane." And that happens a lot more than you would think. So usually I think you probably lose 25% then, and then the other 25%, once they get in and realize they have no idea what to do. People aren't too, they're busy doing their own work. They don't have time to hold your hand for that whole time. They've got KPIs and stuff to meet. They've got things they need to get done. Maybe they're not great at teaching you. You've just been chucked in with someone who's the friendliest. Or maybe you're too scared to ask stupid questions, and there can be a combination of reasons, but that failure rate is really high. And if you aren't prepared and you aren't educated on how it works, and you can't talk the lingo with them, and they can't be confident that you're going to stay, then a lot of the time it's going to be a really short-lived experience.
Yep. And this is really important. You need to take this on board. If the social media that you're following is not talking about the failure rate in the mining, they are full of shit. They don't know what they're talking about. They got no idea about how the mining industry works if they're not talking about the failure rate of the new starters. Getting the job's only the start of the battle. The real battle is day one when you hit site. It just is what it is. And the other thing with the buddies is, normally with the buddies, the pressure's on them to get you up to speed quickly, because normally they're supposed to be doing another job yourself. If say I've got someone training Jess, whoever I've got training Jess, there'll be an empty truck somewhere that they should be driving. And so the pressure's on them to get Jess up to speed as quickly as possible, so I can get both trucks going instead of just having one truck going. And, it's a lot of pressure, and people just don't handle it well. And it's really easy to get turned over.
Yeah, it is. And a lot of people too, sometimes it's not even the job. Maybe you struggle with feeling isolated on site, it can be a lot of variable reasons. It could, maybe you've got things going on at home and, you can't, you're struggling to be away. There can be a lot of reasons. So just knowing about the job and having that education and making that part of your first swing easy can really just take the pressure off everywhere else. You're going to know what to expect. You're going to know what your hours are going to be like, what your day is going to be like, the types of people and types of jobs you're going to be working with. And it can just take the pressure off all round.
Yep. So we hope you found that information helpful. And if you've got any questions that you'd like to ask us, please send it through. And if you could share this information around and like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks.
Thanks.